especially with his father, Joseph Kennedy, who was famously demanding.
Huge influence, right?
Massive. And also that intense loyalty.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something interesting. We're going beyond the legend, really, of President John F. Kennedy, trying to explore the actual man behind that very polished image.
Exactly. It's easy to get lost in the myth, isn't it?
It really is. And our source for this deep dive is fantastic. JFK Public, Private, Secret Revealed by J. Randy Taraborrelli.
A very well-known biographer.
Right. And what makes this book stand out, why we picked it, is it draws on all this new material. Newly released documents, interviews never heard before.
First-hand accounts, which is crucial.
Yeah, and just decades of really digging deep, investigative reporting. So it's not just another biography. It feels much more intimate, unvarnished, maybe.
That's a good word for it.
So as we kind of unpack all this, I think a good question for you listening is, how much do we ever really know about these big public figures? Beyond the sound bites and the official photos?
That's exactly the right question to start with. And Taraborrelli's work, it really pushes on that. How much do we want to know? What happens when that image starts to fray, against a much messier reality? So our mission, I guess, for this deep dive is to look at those layers Taraborrelli talks about. The public JFK, the private struggles, the secret battles.
Right.
To give you a fuller, more human picture.
Right.
The book itself calls him inspiring and flawed, brilliant and reckless.
Which sound about right for a complex human being.
Pretty much. We're aiming for comprehensive, but, concise, get you the core of it.
Okay, so let's start where most people start. That public persona.
Mm-hmm.
Because for decades, that was JFK for so many.
Mm-hmm.
Taraborrelli goes into his political rise, obviously, that leadership during, say, the Cuban Missile Crisis,
Yeah.
that charisma is undeniable. But the book suggests it wasn't just natural, right? It was constructed.
Oh, very much so. And what's really fascinating is how meticulously he and his team crafted it. Taraborrelli gives details, like how JFK used television, which was still pretty new in terms of political power.
Right, the first TV president, really.
In many ways, yeah. Rehearsing speeches for hours, worrying about camera angles, even using specific designers to perfect that ideal family look in photos. It wasn't just, him being charming off the cuff. It was pioneering, really. A calculated use of media that, frankly, changed political campaigning forever.
At the template.
Absolutely. Set the standard. You see echoes of it even today.
It's almost overwhelming to think about maintaining that level of control, day in, day out.
The pressure must have been immense.
But where the book really gets interesting, I think, is peeling back what was behind that facade, what was kept hidden. For instance, the Kennedy marriage. People have this very idealized, almost mythic view sometimes. Does Taraborrelli just tear that down, or is it more complicated?
It's definitely more complicated, nuanced, I'd say. He gives a very candid look at the marriage with Jacqueline Kennedy. It doesn't ignore the difficult stuff, the huge emotional toll of the tragedies they faced, like losing their baby son, Patrick.
Which must have been devastating.
Unimaginably so. And yes, the book absolutely covers the strain from his affairs. They are well documented. But it puts them in the context of what was, in some ways, a very unique partnership, almost political in itself.
Okay.
And if you connect that outwards, you see how the personal lives of leaders, especially then, were so tangled up with their public roles. The effort to manage that boundary, almost impossible. Plus, the book gets into his family relationships too, especially with his father, Joseph Kennedy, who was famously demanding.
Huge influence, right.
Massive. And also that intense loyalty between the siblings. It wasn't just a family, it was this powerful, interconnected unit. Almost a machine, but with all the complex, sometimes suffocating family dynamics you'd expect.
So the private life was complex and often hidden. But then there are the secret battles, as Taraborrelli calls them, which were almost completely invisible to the public. That seems like another level of burden entirely.
It really is.
We're talking about serious health problems, chronic issues like Addison's disease.
Which is a serious adrenal condition, yeah. Most people had no idea. And his reliance on painkillers to manage chronic back pain and other issues.
Right.
Exactly. And the really shocking part isn't just that he had these conditions, but the sheer, almost constant effort involved in the deception, day after day. Taraborrelli finds moments where his physical condition nearly caused serious problems. Like, there's an account of him almost collapsing during a really critical meeting in the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Wow.
His aides had to quickly, get him out of the room, manage the situation without revealing why. It paints such a different picture of his resilience. It adds another layer to his decision-making, knowing he was battling this physically.
Makes you wonder how he managed it all.
It does. And then, beyond the health secrets, the book also digs into those murkier connections. Entanglements with the CIA, the FBI under Hoover, even organized crime figures.
Yeah, those rumors have always been there, but this has more detail.
It does, drawing on newer documents and interviews. It shows this sort of hidden underbelly to his presidency, a world far, far away from that Camelot image.
So, okay, let's try and pull this together. What does this all mean for how we understand JFK? This deep dive, using Taraborrelli's work, it feels like it's peeled back so many layers.
Definitely.
We move past just the public face. We've seen his private life, the complexities there, and these intense secret struggles he was dealing with constantly. We looked at his political skill, his leadership in crises, but also how much effort went into crafting that image. War hero, family man, all carefully managed.
And we've seen the reality of the marriage, the impact of personal loss, the affairs, yes, but also the partnership and those family dynamics, especially with his father and siblings. Very powerful forces. And of course, uncovering those hidden battles, the Addisons, the painkillers, the incredible lengths they went to conceal it all, plus those darker ties, CIA, FBI, mafia links, part of his secret world. And I think what's really important, and Taraborrelli does as well, is the balance. The book isn't trying to just tear him down, nor is it trying to, put him back on a pedestal.
Right, he's not a simple takedown or a hagiography.
Exactly. It paints a human portrait, a man who was, like we said at the start, inspiring and flawed, brilliant and reckless.
Complex.
Which feels much more real.
It does. It's a strong reminder that our heroes, our historical figures, they're usually far more complicated than the simple stories we sometimes prefer. And that really brings it back to you, listening to this. Thinking about this deep dive, it should maybe make us all think a bit more about that complexity in public figures generally. Makes you reflect, doesn't it? On leadership itself and the hidden burdens, the contradictions that even the most charismatic leaders often carry, things we just don't see.
The public mask versus the private reality.
So maybe here's a final thought to leave you with. Understanding the deeply human, often contradictory nature of someone like JFK, brilliant and reckless, inspiring and flawed, what does that teach us? What does it teach us about the stories, the narratives we build around our leaders? And maybe what does it tell us about the real cost of public life, the secrets it seems to demand?
Grab JFK, Public, Private Secret, by J. Randy Taraborrelli, now on sale for $26.95. Don't miss this chance to build good habit and achieve remarkable results. Buy now, today.
Like and subscribe for more Bookhaven podcasts.